the people that want to say to me like that privateers are the backbone of the sport, unfortunately they're not, because I make a living covering the sport and I don't have to mention any of them.
I met a gypsy.
The problem is the disparity between the top and the bottom, right? And so I just think that the statistic that's crazy that I just don't think people think about, 45% of every Saturday at a Supercross race is spent on riders that won't even make the night show.
Like C practice and B practice kind of thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 45% of the day's racing is spent on people that won't even make the night show.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like
and
you
then,
need a graduation series.
And then of the people that make the night show, 45% of them won't score a championship point.
Yep.
So we're racing for the AMA Supercross Championship. This is the best dirt bike championship on planet Earth. And we spend the majority of the time on people that will never score a championship point
in the series.
What the fuck are we doing?
Like in the grand scheme of like other motorsports, that does not happen.
Bro, that doesn't happen in sport.
Yeah.
How much TV coverage does the third string quarterback for the Denver Broncos get?
No, none. Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah. It doesn't get talked about.
Because he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then the people that want to say to me like that privateers are the backbone of the sport, unfortunately they're not. Because I make a living covering the sport and I don't have to mention any of them to make a living.
Yeah, it's the top guys, yeah.
So how important are these people that are rocking up every Saturday and not even making the night show? By definition, irrelevant. Like it's not even remotely important.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's such a, like, for me, it's such a fine line, obviously, because like I've had bad years where like I didn't make that many mains and like realistically, I shouldn't have even been out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But God, it's so like, in the sense of like the sport elevating to the next level, the cutoff does probably need to be higher.
And that's all I want.
Yes.
That's all I want.
And I agree with that in the sense of the sport growing.
Yeah. And
let the top guys be elite.
But let's say, what's one of the biggest problems that we face in the sport right now?
Like on a Saturday?
Yeah.
I mean, probably track prep. You know, that kind of got
Why is that a problem?
More track time. So
one of the biggest, I've just asked you unsolicited, didn't lead into that question. What's one of the biggest problems with the sport? Track prep. Okay. Can I revert back to my statistic?
Yes.
Of 45% of the fucking time that we spend at a race every single weekend is spent on people that aren't even going to make the night show.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
And so I don't care how we do it, right? I don't care what it takes to do it. I wouldn't care if there was only 20 dudes allowed to show up on a Saturday. That's probably unrealistic. That's a bit too far. I'd have to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
But
But it's almost kind of like the playoff portion. You know, like how it's like top 30 in points.
Yeah.
Gets to show up.
Yeah.
Kind of like that style. Because like, I mean, the playoffs are fucking awesome. I love the playoffs.
It works.
Yeah. You know, it's like there is less guys in your practice. It's like a little safer in that way. You know, you're not like over each other at all times. Like, dude, some practices on like a small track, dude, it fucking sucks. Putting down a lap.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
Yeah. So I want to live in a world where the threshold to call yourself a Supercross racer and have the ability
is higher
to go to those races is so much higher. And then there's a whole nother, you make that happen, right? There's a whole nother industry that has to be born to then take those guys, right?
Yeah, and it's like kind of
then it becomes like a pathway.
Yeah.
And one of the arguments is and I mean, I've read every comment, I've read every argument. Like, if I leave one mark on this sport, I want to change people's minds about this.
How about that? Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, get rid of the privateers, and then what's my little Jimmy gonna aim for? Everyone was a privateer once. I can tell you right now, Eli Tomac, never been a privateer.
Yeah.
Cooper Webb,
yeah.
never been a privateer. Jack Lawrence, never been a privateer.
Yeah, there's some levels of guys that just like haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
And they will never have to.
They will never have to because they're good. They're so good.
Yeah.
And so I want to live in a world where the cutoff is way gnarlier. You would have made that cutoff basically every year of your career.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, and there was another series, good series, you would have been the guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
You would have been the fucking guy.
I could have won a championship.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I haven't got a trophy since I turned pro.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So is there a world? I would still watch those races. Put on some good races.
You know, like, let's say like me and Starling are going for a fucking title.
Dude, because that's the reality of it.
Yeah, like there is different levels to it, 100%.
And that's like in all other sports, there's a way to watch those.
You know, there's F2.
Exactly. And so that's my thing where people are like, they're like, you're going to kill the dream for these young kids. Dude,
realistically, it might make it better.
It will make it better. But there's no privateers in NASCAR. There's no privateers in F1. But there's millions of kids that still want to be F1 drivers.
Yeah.
And
they go race go-karts.
And they'll still make it there, or they won't. And you can be Jet Lawrence. Dude, I saw how they grew up. I know for a fact what those kids went through. Okay? You can be Jet Lawrence, and you can make it. You can be Hayden Deegan, and you can make it. If your kid is good enough,
he's gonna make it.
He's gonna make it. Whether you're Team Green, privateer at all, like what you went through with your.
look at J Coop.
J Coop.
I mean, he was like nothing until he got. I mean, he was on Cycle Traders last A year.
Yeah.
And like really
crushed it, and then was a star.
Yeah, and ended up working out.
Yeah.
You know.
And so the whole thing as well,
and
right?
Too, you know what's wild about that story is he was thinking about going pro the year before after the Loretta's, and he decided not to because I think he got hurt. I can't remember what happened at that time, and decided to do one more year of amateur. And dude, like if he didn't do that, he would have been maybe a privateer his whole career and never won a title, never won a race. Like Crazy. You don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So it's like it's so weird. Like what we talked about earlier, like day to day, like life choices change your trajectory.
Left and right.
Yeah.
Well, look, Hunter Yoda decided to sit out Loretta's because of the COVID year because he already had a 4-year fucking Geico deal.
Well, it's gone.
Done. Then he spends the rest of his career fucking grinding to get back there.
Yeah. Now he's like finally
getting there after
years. And dude, that's actually one thing I really like even seeing like Simonson right now. I told my wife like 2 years ago, I was like, when I started getting a little bit better at Supercross and went to 450, I was like, dude, I like after learning from these main events in 450, like I want to do a coast, like with clubs so bad on a good 250.
Yeah, you would have crushed.
I think I would have did pretty good, actually.
So I agree.
Yeah, like good team environment goes a long ways.
Yeah,
and I learned that through like my Essenson Yamaha program that I got on, dude. It like literally overnight was like I finally was able to kind of show more of my potential.
Yeah.
By
being in that environment.
Yeah, just like it really does change how things are for yourself. It's kind of crazy.
The last thing I'll say on this, just to try and get these thoughts out, because I haven't.
Yeah. Gotta get it out.
So this plan that like I have, if you raise the floor to be more relative to the ceiling, how much better would a day be at Supercross where like there's, let's say like, I mean, I even see a world where like instead of press day where all the factory dudes show up and fucking do their laps, why can't we have the pulp main event every Friday? Like,
I see what you're saying. Kind of like that style.
So like Friday becomes like the qualifying for the B group, and then there's only 22 B guys, and then the top 4 get to be positions 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 or whatever. Or you know what I mean?
Or 18
like
to 22.
18 to, yeah.
Or whatever, yeah.
So then I would love to see this. So there's a Friday program. No pros ride press day. The pros go and do interviews and stand and watch this and be around for that.
Yep.
Because how much better, like even from a press point of view, when these media outlets like CBS from Seattle, CBS at 5, and they just see some dudes like jumping, rolling around, like going around the whoops, like that's fucking lame, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like that crazy about that. But if they watch a race, you're like showing
exciting.
people what they will see tomorrow night. Then everyone's like, the LCQs are the craziest races, which like, they kind of are.
Yeah.
So there's only 22 guys that are like B practice, right? They rock up on Friday, they do a free practice, qualifying, then they do a B main, right? That B main, 4 dudes transfer in to make it
like A group,
22 of A group, right? So then you need to be 16th or better in points, or 17th or 18th or better in points to avoid that.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So if you're 18th or better in the 450 class, you're pre-qualified. Otherwise, you got to do the Friday,
like a B main.
Yeah, you got to do the Friday thing to get back in.
Which wasn't that kind of? I mean, well, I guess in outdoors back in the day, they used to do like qualifying races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the sport, I don't know. Eventually, at some point, you kind of gotta be open to change. It's the only way things grow.
Yeah.
You know, I do think the sport is growing.
It's massively growing, bro.
You know, like it's getting pretty popular. You know, it helps with Deegan, Jet, guys like that.
Like I know it because I go out in public.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like MotoGP, like it was funny. I'm not like deep in that world. But I'm standing around Alpine Stars, and then these like team dudes are coming and like getting photos with me.
That's
and
cool.
Like, I love the podcast, like Italian guys, old Spanish guys, and I'm with my buddy, and he's like, "You have no idea who that is, eh?" And I'm like, "Nah." And he's like, "This guy is the team manager for this. He used to be the fucking team manager of the Alpine F1," and I'm like, "No idea." So like that didn't happen years ago.
No,
everyone's paying so much more attention. And so,
well, even like at the beginning of the show, you said something about Ricardo, like watching.
Oh yeah, watch your pod the day it came out.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I did not expect that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
for me,
and
you know,
and so let's say we do that. You get your B main, then you got 22 guys go in, but then instead of the like. You wouldn't have the same like LCQ or all that shit. I mean, I guess you theoretically could keep the program the same. Let's just say you do. But so then Saturday, there's no B practice, there's no C practice. Maybe there's a 30-minute A free practice in the morning, and then 2 10-minute qualifiers or 12-minute qualifiers.
For gate pick.
For gate pick. And then you go into the night
But it's
program.
only 22 guys.
But it's only the A guys. Think about how much better that would have been for guys like yourself to do a 30-minute free practice.
That'd be kind of cool.
But how much better would you get?
Yeah.
Like, surely that would help you. And like a Justin Starling, a Moran's, like all of those guys.
Yeah, because now they just cut off 10 minutes of track time.
Which is worse for you guys.
Yeah, like it, I don't know, to learn a track like that fast, like it would be, those guys probably got it pretty tough. I don't know, it's hard to say. Like a lot of times, dude, like we're hitting shit second lap. Like it's kind of like muscle memory a little bit, but still it's like, I see the point where it's like more track time. Like look at GPs. I mean, like, dude, they got a lot of track time on an outdoor track that they rode last year.
Yeah.
You know, so like they already know.
But I think about like, say that 30-minute session, you would be able to like go out, do some laps at the start. You'd be able to come in and you'd be like, okay, the track's rough as fuck. Let's go to like more of a main event setting. So then let's test some main event stuff. Dude, I just think about from like the production standpoint of like, I don't watch B and C practice for race day live. I'm the most hardcore fan. I've fucking dedicated my whole life to being a fan. I'm essentially the world's highest paid fan of fucking Supercross.
Supercross.
So it's like, I don't watch those guys.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan. I know I'm a fan. That doesn't make me not a fan. I'm just not interested. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Watching those guys in the C practice is not watching Supercross to me, right? And so it's like, dude, imagine a 30-minute 250A then they fully clean the track. They've got time. There's no real crazy rush to pack anything in. 30-minute 450. Dude, that's a whole thing to like watch that, see who changes this. There's probably dude changing forks and shocks. And think about the cameras down on the like side of the track.
In depth, and like they can get closer to stuff. Like right now, dude, in a 12-minute session, if you pull in to change sag and stuff, I mean, you lose 2 laps of practice probably.
Yeah.
You know, like on time wise, because it's only 12 minutes.
So
2 sessions.
To me, this whole thing, like I get that it kind of hits people in the heart, like privateers, and there's probably a bunch of dudes that they did 1 or 2 races, or it's their dream. But it's like, just be fucking real, man. Like, just interface correctly with reality, and stop hurting the guys that are the backbone of the sport. Like, dude, what was the first East Coast? Was Arlington?
Yes. Right? Yeah.
Bro, there was less people there because Deegan wasn't there. I guarantee it.
Probably.
I mean,
dude, Deegan grows the sport.
Guarantee.
Yeah.
That, because I remember being there at night and being like, I thought there'd be more people.
It's like kind of dead.
No, it wasn't dead, but every single race up to that point was pretty much a sellout.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Deegan probably boosted a lot of teenagers to try dirt bikes again, or at least watch it.
100%.
You know, I mean, he's good for the sport.
So to me, this whole argument is just so, like, I get it. You guys want your dream, you want your fairy tale, but it's like, let's just not hold on to 1987. Like 1987's 40 years ago. The last time a privateer really won a race was 40 years ago.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty crazy stat.
So it's like, and then this also helps the guys like you that were so close and really high level. It gives you more time on the track.
Yeah, or even last time I know we talked about like a satellite, like if Jack got hurt, like let's say I tested Honda throughout the week, and I was like their B main backup guy.
Yeah,
kind of thing. You know, like that's, I feel like a totally viable option in a lot of ways.
Well, and you'd see that in World Supercross.
Yeah.
So like guys would get hurt and like a new dude just had to step in and race. Like that just gives so much more opportunity. And I think about like the one thing is so you've got Feld, that's the promoter, and then you got AMA that runs the races. So it's like all the entry fees go to the AMA.
Yeah.
So if there's 400 dudes rock up, that's a lot of entry fee. Like this decision is not being made for the good of the sport. This decision to have 300 guys rock up is money from the AMA.
Yeah,
and then the Feld is like, fuck, we ain't going to war with the AMA over this. Whatever. It doesn't affect us. People still come. So like it's people like me that I don't have any monetary interest in. I'm purely looking at it as like, what's good for the sport? What's fucking, like, what would help this grow? What's the trajectory that we're on? What would make this better?
Yeah. I don't know. It's always like I don't know.
I'm just sick of the same shit.
Yeah.
We argue about the same things.
Yeah, I do think
every
like
fucking year.
A change. I mean, it's been, how long has Supercross been going? It's been the same
70 years
format.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, I'm sure that, I guess World Supercross kind of tried a different.
And it's great, bro. You rock up at 12.
Yeah, like a different format and stuff like that. So it's, I don't know, really just kind of wouldn't hurt to try something new at all. I don't think at all. I mean, I think the top guys like Eli's, Jets, they'd love it. You know?
Everyone at the top of the sport wants
it. Yeah. I mean, even like me is like, let's say I was like top whatever in points, I'd be stoked. So I don't have to do the heat. Fuck the heat race.
Yeah. You just finished watching a clip from the full 3-hour podcast. You're on our Clips channel. The full podcasts live on the gypsytales podcast channel. It's linked right here. Go over to that channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and make sure you never miss a full episode of the gypsytales podcast. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you want to watch it on the go, you can also head to our iTunes or Spotify to get the full 3-hour podcast in audio format.
I met a gypsy.